Welcome to Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. Three-fourths of the weirdos are here tonight. If you tuned into this Diz Live tonight, you knew Mark Valentine was not going to be able to make it. So in his stead, we have invited a first-time weirdo in Giuseppe, a.k.a. Juice Boxer. How you doing, Juice?
I am doing pretty well, pretty nervous as well, but I am here. I'm ready to go and talk some Marvel.
Zero reason to be nervous, Juice, but tell everybody where they can find you if they like what they hear from you.
Yeah, guys, definitely. Y'all can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as my real name, Giuseppe Vicaretti, or as Juice Boxer, mixed of letters and numbers in that name. And I also have my podcast as well on Apple, Google, Overcast, Spotify, just juicing around with all the latest and greatest, the earliest and newest pop culture media, books, movies, you know it, you name it, I'll talk about it. But that's where you can find me, and I am stoked for this.
You could say you're just juicing around.
At this point, yeah, we're all just juicing around, you know?
Mark Adams, how are you doing tonight, sir? Welcome back.
I am swell, thank you. It's good to be back. I know our people had some communications about pay for the show and all that. I'm glad we got our contracts worked out, and I'm back on the show. It's good stuff.
Send those people my way. Piano Rob,
Right?
about getting paid for your appearances.
How you guys doing, man? I'm so glad to be back. I missed last week, but it's fun. Let's talk some Marvel.
I definitely missed you last week too, Rob.
Well, thank you.
Juice is an avid watcher of our show, so thank you so much, Juice. Rob, we are going to start with you.
Well, I panicked, but then I handled it.
Not a lot of spoilers. Marvel has put out there several, if you really want to find out spoilers. But Rob, you finally saw Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. What did you think of it?
This is a wonder. This is probably I didn't even think out of exactly what number yet, but as far as origin stories go, it got to be in my top 4 or 5 of the Marvel origin stories. The action is great. The comedy is great. They work in stuff from past movies. It's a brilliant movie. I knew nothing about Shang-Chi, and I wanted to keep it that way. I loved it. If you like the other stuff Marvel has put out, go see this. It's one of the better ones.
Well, I panicked, but then I handled it.
Mark Adams, we have also not gotten your thoughts on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's been almost 2 weeks since you saw it for the first time.
It's been 2 weeks since.
Yeah, saw it opening night, a little after Bryan. It was good stuff. It's in my top half of Marvel movies. I don't know if it cracks the top 10, but it's definitely in the top half. I loved it. I am going to see it again tomorrow in the Dolby Theater at AMC. AMC, we're big fans of yours, so invite us to some private screenings. Anyways, so I'm excited for that.
Way overestimating the reach that United We Fan has.
No, not at all. So I think it's great stuff. I know I gave it on our Instagram for United We Fan, a review of the best martial arts action visually effects movie since The Matrix. So I liked it a lot.
We caught him at least happy, but Juice looks like he's frozen now. Juice, can you hear me?
Oh, I can definitely hear you. Sorry about that.
Juice, I know you originally weren't going to wait the 45 days to see Shang-Chi. Being in upstate New York, you just weren't sure you wanted to venture out to the theaters, but eventually the Marvelness got to you. What did you think of the film?
I'll tell you, without spoiling a single thing, the best thing I can do is reiterate and honor a friend of ours, a mutual friend who was actually on a couple episodes ago, our good friend Anthony, and he literally said it perfectly. I've been reiterating what he said, quoting him. 25 movies in, and Marvel can still show us something that we've never seen before. And it was very low on my anticipation list for Phase 4. I was more looking forward to what is yet to come still, but Cinemark Movie Club showed me that I had 3 credits saved and I didn't even realize it. So I used one of those to dive right in. And wow, it blew me away without me realizing it, or not say wanting to, because I gotta watch at least one MCU movie at the theater, but definitely overstepped my bounds as far as what I was anticipating and what I thought we would get. I mean, oh gosh, I'm still thinking about it. I saw it almost around the same time as Mark did back on open. It wasn't opening night for me. It was more of that Saturday, but IMAX, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, and boy, was I blown away completely.
Well, when you talk about Marvel giving us things that we've never seen before, sometimes all we want to see is things that we've seen before.
Well, I panicked, but then I handled it.
Okay.
While we're overestimating the reach of United We Fan and Earth's Mightiest Weirdos, Franky says he loves Shang-Chi and wants to be friends with Aquafina. How do we make
I think we can. I loved her in this. Is this a hot take if I say I think in Raya and the Last Dragon, all I could see was Aquafina? Thank you. All I could see was Aquafina. It kind of took me out of the moment. But in this movie, I think she showed her comedy, her action, and her heart side. I was a big fan of her in this.
She wasn't too Aquafina for me. I have said on multiple occasions, Crazy Rich Asians is my second favorite chick flick.
What?
He's still too much for me in that film.
I can agree with you there.
I like Crazy Rich Asians.
No, we need your Mount Rushmore right now of romantic comedies.
John Tucker Must Die is number one.
I remember that. Oh, good Lord.
Crazy Rich Asians, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and what's another good chick flick, buddy?
When Harry Met Sally.
Did you just ask your son what another good chick flick
Did you really just do that?
Raised him right.
Well, Rob said it, so we are going to go to our newest segment of The World According to Jax.
There we go. My favorite segment.
How you doing, bud?
Good.
So, Jax, what's your favorite movie that's made for girls?
I don't know.
Barbie?
No.
No.
Oh.
Wish Dragon? Trolls?
I guess Wish Dragon.
Wish Dragon on Netflix. All right, cool. So, The World According to Jax. First, Jax, let's get your thoughts on What If Zombies.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, you only saw it the one time, right? You didn't sleep well?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah. What was so scary about it?
Most of it. I can't choose.
Who was
one thing.
creepiest? Giant Wasp? Crazy Thanos?
Ooh, Captain America.
This one was probably Wanda.
Wanda was.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
he's right.
Yep.
Well, Jax, you're going to introduce our next topic, and I'm going to pull up the picture, and you can tell everybody what you thought of the trailer that we got today, coming out November 24th, the TV series Hawkeye on Disney Plus.
I think I'll like it a lot. And I didn't expect it to be anything like related to Christmas.
I know, it's awesome, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We get an MCU Christmas thing.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, we're going to get Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. But
Yeah.
this year, we got Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
What about Kate Bishop? Do you think she's cool? The Archer girl?
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Are you excited for it?
Yes.
All right. Anything else you want to say about Marvel?
No.
All right. See, thanks, buddy.
You're welcome,
Go
Dad.
watch Wish Dragon. That was
Jax. Oh wow.
Hero of the universe.
Every episode, I always end up agreeing with Jax.
yeah.
He's always right.
He does a good job. So he really, and thank you everybody for humoring me. He loves absolutely doing that, and I'm just gonna keep letting it happen.
Yes, don't
I go
stop.
to you. We are getting our first official. Iron Man 3. It is a retelling of a Christmas story or a Christmas Carol. I've said it many times. I'll continue to say it, but we are getting our first official Christmas MCU project at Christmas time. Juice, what did you think of the Hawkeye trailer?
Again, almost the same kind of reaction I had to Shang-Chi, where yes, was not expecting this. I knew Hawkeye was coming, but to take this route, yes, 100% love it. I will say I'm kind of iffy on Jeremy Renner's whole role throughout the series, but the trailer sold me. I'm definitely interested to see what Haley Steinfeld's going to be cooking. It looks like they're going to be going into a little bit of Jeremy Renner's character story from like the comics. There's a quick scene that shows an earpiece or something in that trailer. Very much intrigued to see what comes out of this series. If it's going to be like a one-shot season or continuous. I'm pretty sure they said that it would be multiple seasons probably, but I am ready. I am totally in for this.
I didn't know anything about multiple seasons. I fully expect him to die within the 6 episodes. So
Yeah.
Die at Christmas time. But I don't know. If it is multiple seasons, that would be cool. Is there anybody
Totally.
here who's of the original 6 Avengers? He's not number 6? I think he's number 6 on most of our lists.
Yeah, no, he's got to be, and I hate to say that, but it's just look at the other.
Listen, I do too, but it's like picking the bad one of a great batch of apples. There, you can't,
yeah.
you know.
He's Ringo.
Oh, I was just about to say, don't call him Ringo. I like Ringo.
He's Ringo. I was
Yes.
It's not his fault.
Wow, we're the old men now.
Beatles are behind me.
I'm Wilford Brimley, and I'm here to talk to you.
Brimley.
Mark. Actually, I'm not going to go to Mark. I am going to go to Rob first because we're going to get to Mark, because I know there's a special spot in the trailer that he wants to discuss. The show seems to be really inspired by Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, including Arrow the dog, who is renamed Lucky, who loses his left eye when he's saving Hawkeye. And we have Lucky in the trailer, and it looks like he's losing his left eye. This seems to be really inspired by the Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run. Alex Klein is in the comments. He's been on our show multiple times. I know Alex would be able to tell us anything we wanted about Matt Fraction. But Rob, are you excited for Hawkeye as well?
I am very excited. They're doing the typical introduction of a new character by using an old character, which I enjoy. I love Haley Steinfeld, by the way. She's just, as an upcoming actress, she's great. I'm excited to see the Tracksuit Mafia, which is the villains from the comics. They're definitely in the trailer. It's a funny name of a bunch of bad guys too. I think Hawkeye also finds Kate Bishop kind of taking up that Ronin mantle. That's why she has that mask on in the beginning that he had. So that's going to be interesting. And I'm very excited to see Vincent D'Onofrio reprise his role as Kingpin. That's going to be a weird, interesting thing that's going to happen here.
Was that confirmed?
I'm pretty sure that's confirmed.
I've been hearing it. I didn't see anything in the trailer to like hint towards that.
Yeah, I think that's just his hopes, I think, right now.
You think so? Because if that's true, that's going to be amazing.
I like him
for a reason. I don't know. I've heard it, but I don't know for sure.
Right.
He's been teasing it all day since the trailer was released.
Yeah, but he's been wanting to be back in that for a long time now. Like,
yeah. Well, I guess we will find out, because that's going to be awesome.
Seems like the fan base really wants Vincent D'Onofrio to come back too. So I mean, hey, I'm all about it.
I hope it's a J. Jonah Jameson situation where it's kind of him in a new universe and a different timeline. I hope they're not just, for lack of a better term, it sounds bad, but validating the Netflix stuff. I know that's what a lot of people want, but there's a lot that just doesn't mesh with the rest of the MCU. And it just, I don't know. I love my tight knit world. And that's what makes me nervous about the multiverse. Kevin says it's going to be a single season of Hawkeye with an Echo spinoff. We did get our first look of Echo. Alakwa Cox is the actress there. This is really her first major role. Mark, the reason I didn't go to you is because I'm going to go to you now. Rogers the Musical. Go. Oh, nobody can see your face, so let me pull it down.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. I loved that poster. I loved the quick shot of the musical. Definitely like Hamilton-ish, I thought of. It reminded me of the meme whenever Civil War, the preview came out for it, and it's Captain America on top. He's like, this is my movie, but all anyone can talk about is this. And it's SpiderMan with his shield going, hey, everyone. So thank you. Wow, good timing. So I think it looks brilliant. I can't wait to see Hawkeye's reaction to, yes, look at that. That's my next cosplay right there as Captain America in a tracksuit. Almost
that's the Earth's Mightiest Weirdos Halloween party.
Oh, stay tuned. It's going to be our Patreon invite only.
It seems like it's telling the Battle of New York. We have Thor, and that's the only reason I think that is because of Loki showing up.
Do we think like that? I know there's Hulk there, but can one of those guys be Bruce Banner? Do we think maybe?
The guy
you thinking the guy with the I Heart New York shirt?
I thought that was Bruce Banner.
I think that's Dr. Selvig. on Cap's
Oh.
left in the jacket, maybe in the lab jacket. You think maybe?
Is that Cisco?
Well,
No. What are you thinking of? Flash?
that could be Dr. Selvig. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
see
that's
where you're-
Selvig.
I see where you're going for.
Ant-Man is probably there, but you can't see him.
That's
Whoa.
true.
Right.
Okay.
But I honestly, this is probably going to be my favorite part. I know. If they come out with a poster for this show, I'm of course going to buy it. And I hope it doesn't overshadow the show too much, but this is going to be pretty
We're
great.
going to get just a couple of minutes of it. I don't think we're going to get I
Yeah.
think people get
I think
some
it's one
sort of-
song. I
Haley
think
Steinfeld can sing, so I think we're going to get something of Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
A Christmas Carol of some sort. But you got Hawkeye up on the balcony. You got Tony Stark. You got some Shikari.
Yep.
It's gonna be freaking hilarious. Like, this is not something I ever would have imagined. So
I'm
that's
for
pretty
it.
cool. So Haley
Well,
Steinfeld.
and it's also
she fits right
interesting.
into the role.
It's also interesting. It just shows how superheroes are now integrated in that life. They're around for how many years now? So of course they're going to make Broadway shows and everything else about them.
Tony would be a little bit bummed that it's not Stark the play, right? I mean,
He had so many movies. We saw that in Spider-Man: Far From Home. There were so many documentaries about him. Calm down, Tony.
The last thing I want to discuss before we get into talking about what if, Shang-Chi is over $250 million worldwide in its first 2 weeks, which is solidifying the release date of Eternals in a 45-day theatrical exclusive window, which will open on November 5th. I cannot wait for Eternals. I'm very, very excited that we are confident in this, not only this theatrical release, but Spider-Man on December 17th. Sony's even confident in the theatrical market to this point where they actually moved Venom, Let There Be Carnage up another 2 weeks just to set the record for the most amount of times a movie release date has been moved, if nothing else.
Agreed.
But I'm very excited. We're going to get Eternals this November. So good job, Shang-Chi. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to pull it back up. Let's get into it. We've got zombies, and we've got lots and lots of zombies.
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 What were your overall thoughts of the episode?
I've liked a lot of the episodes so far, to where knowing that this when they announced that this would be the next episode, I was very much pumped. I have been a huge fan of the zombie genre, the horror genre, and all that comes with it, to where it's been a long want, not major want, because obviously Marvel and Disney can't really dive in too much into the genre because of the ratings aspect of it all. But I've wanted to see what a Marvel zombie take would be, and it was exactly what I thought it would. Was not disappointed. The story was pretty clear cut for me, and aside from a few emotional like arcs or lack thereof, very much enjoyed it. Very much.
Would you call it your favorite episode of What If of the 5?
Not yet. No. Currently, this is probably second favorite, maybe third favorite. First favorite is still that Doctor Strange episode. Nothing can beat that currently for me. Second favorite is T'Challa, Star-Lord. And this one has to be inside that top 3.
Rob, you weren't able to join us when we talked about that Doctor Strange episode. First, what did you think of that one?
I love that episode, man. I like that it didn't end with a happy ending. I like that they show
nothing in this show does.
Well, but I think that's what's so beautiful about it. I'm sitting back and just letting them show it, because the universe that they tell the stories about, the one that we're used to, Earth 616 in the comics, that is the happy universe. That's why they tell us that. That's the universe where the heroes win. There are going to be universes where it doesn't work out well, and that's what's so beautiful. That's what they're trying to get us used to.
Preach.
Now, what did you think of zombies this week, Rob?
I love zombies. Like the other episodes, I'm sitting back, letting them throw whatever they want to throw at me. I like, you see all the different team ups, different villains together, different good guys together. I did have to get over the fact very quickly, which I did, that they're playing by their own zombie rules. They threw out all the rules of zombie culture. So you had to be ready to what?
They were fast, if nothing else.
This is like almost the first or second time of seeing these kind of zombies.
Yeah, the fact that they still had their powers, the fact that they could still
Yes.
operate.
We lost Rob. We'll get Rob back in just a minute. Mark, first, Rob or Mark, what did you
all
think
their
of the
power.
Strange
That's
episode
just a
last week?
lethal
Oh, I think we
combination.
did we get Rob back? No.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Okay.
Rob's back.
Oh, did I go somewhere?
Yeah, we lost you for just a minute. Mark, go ahead though. We'll get back to Rob when we get into the show.
Yay. What was the question? Sorry, Brian.
What did you think of the Doctor Strange episode, and then what did you think of zombies this week?
I really liked Doctor Strange. That episode was great. It was dark. It was philosophical. It was probably one of the most philosophical stories Marvel has gone with. I enjoyed it a lot. Zombies, as a fan of Evil Dead and Shaun of the Dead, I was so excited for this. I enjoyed Peter's little like training video at the beginning there. This one, my favorite is still Captain Carter. I know I'm like alone on or in a select small group, but I love that episode. Brian, I got a hot take as far as rankings. The T'Challa one is the T'Challa one is probably my least favorite, and I'm not saying it's a bad one. It's just one I've watched the least. So yeah, I'll burn on that.
Mark.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's the one I've wanted to watch. Whatever. You all are acting like it's...
I've made Bryan so annoyed with me throughout all my years, or like throughout the last couple of years of knowing him, and I'm just surprised that he lets you say that.
We have a very mutual understanding of he's going to frustrate me and I'm going to frustrate him. We're like Simon and Garfunkel.
I also have editing power at United We Fan. So Mark, what about the zombies? I know you're hawking for the Funko releases, if nothing else.
I am, and for everyone who hasn't watched, we're going to spoil it, but they came out with some. I don't think I need the Captain America one. I know it's like unbelievable for me to say. I wish they had a Funko for Hank Pym, as Scott Lang with the cape.
It's got to be coming. It's got to be coming.
I would have loved a little stand with it, the head and the cape. Yep. I would have loved that. I will say the SpiderMan one with Doctor Strange's cape is beautiful with or without the mask. I think they're both beautiful. But Funko, if you're listening, I'm still mad at you because you don't do anything to stop people from hoarding them so that us true fans can't get any. Please find a way to crack down on that so that us good fans out there can have a Funko.
Yeah, Kevin is our resident Funko expert. He says New York Comic Con exclusive, maybe for Lang and the
I can see that.
A ton of sense. It's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a hard one to get. We'll start with you, Rob. We start at what we assume to be a regular universe up at the beginning of Infinity War. We even get the cool.
Wait. Buzzer. I got something. Thank you. Did this episode, I always watch Ant-Man and the Wasp before Infinity War. Did this episode prove that you should watch that before you watch Infinity War?
I think so.
Why would you not watch Ant-Man and the Wasp before Infinity War?
If you go on Disney Plus, they have it after Infinity War in the timeline.
That's only because of release order, isn't it?
No. It's timeline order because they have Captain Marvel after the first Avenger.
Infinity War and Games we watch back to back. Yeah. Other than the post-credit scene, I mean, I guess that's the point. I think that's probably why they put it.
You're onto something, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the reason you wouldn't know what happened to them at the very, very, very end of Ant-Man and Wasp without having the Infinity War knowledge. That's probably why. It
spoils the end of Infinity War a little bit.
I think so too. Yeah.
If you care about the Van Dyne family.
That's the reason, Mark. I'm sorry, but that's the reason.
Don't show it to people.
Yeah, exactly. Listen,
are you going to show?
I mean, in theory,
are you going to show the prequels to
the post-credit scene and move it over to make it an additional post-credit scene?
Editing is a thing.
They can do that. In theory, there's no reason not to do that. But
are you going to watch Black Widow after Civil War?
Sure. The only reason I do not like watching the MCU in timeline order is because the post-credit scenes get all sorts of messed up. So I just watch it in release order.
Skip them now.
Yeah, just skip them.
In fact, that's actually good advice.
There's
but I
somebody out there that has put them all on YouTube, at least, into one
that's
cohesive
good.
video.
That's good advice, though, for anybody. If
We
you
need
want to
Carlos to
watch them in
explain them.
chronological order, skip the
Or-
credit scenes because you're watching them anyway.
Yeah, but you also shouldn't be watching in chronological order your first time through the MCU. Let's get into it. Rob,
that sounds like a Star
we
Wars
get
question.
Infinity War, and we even get the cool camera shot of New York City kind of turning on its side a little bit. Bruce comes flying into the Sanctum Sanctorum. This time nobody's there, so Doctor Strange can't ask the question of who when Bruce talks about Thanos coming.
Who?
But Rob, what did you think of just this whole opening scene when Bruce watches Tony and Strange and everybody come out? And my favorite quote of the episode is when he goes, that's sort of overkill, guys.
It's so gory and horror-ish, which I mean, you guys know I love. I'm a big proponent of Halloween Horror Nights over here at Universal. I love that gore and that type of stuff. So to bring that into this is awesome. I also think they're doing this to prepare us for other type of monsters because we do know Blade has been already teased and coming, so we're going to get vampires and stuff like that. So I think this was a nice little tease into that horror type of thing and a classic monster type of thing.
Real quick, Kevin says he just went to Disney Plus, checked it. So maybe because of this episode of What If, Mark, they've changed it. But he says in timeline order now, it goes Thor Ragnarok, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Infinity War.
That's the influence we have. They change it as we say it.
I mean,
sure.
Brian, you don't think we're going to have influence, but, look what Disney Plus just did.
Let's go.
Oh, look at that.
Juice, what did you make of this opening scene? It's pretty gory, like Rob said.
It's gory, the likeness and the feel of the episode compared to the beginning sequence of Infinity War with Bruce flying down, and just how it's quite literally similar and at the same time different. It was beautiful to me. The animation still gets me going, and it's just as good. The heroes realizing our hero seeing Banner seeing the heroes come out and then realizing that they're actually eating them, saying that seems like overkill. Classic zombie line. Love it, and just it got me in the feels a little bit when I saw like Wong and Doctor Strange, not Doctor Strange, but Iron Man go after him. Man.
The visuals of the Cloak of Levitation holding Wong back from just eating Banner at the time.
It was great.
It was, I mean, the visuals were really cool. Mark, would you have had, for the second time in 5 episodes, Hank Pym being the one that screws up the universe?
I think they're really showing that he is such a dangerous, underestimated Avenger. I went through so many emotions during that, where you see Steve like, all right, everyone, eyes, ow. And I'm like, wait, what happened to Steve? And then you zoom into him like, nah, 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 nah. And then I'm like, okay, that's pretty, oh no, he's being eaten. Oh God, I'm going through so many emotions right now. So I'm okay with, I think because they didn't focus too much on it, like once we got done with him eating Steve, we didn't really see him again, so it wasn't as big of a focus. If they had made him like the evil zombie genius instead of Scarlet Witch, then it would have probably been too much.
I was iffy on this as well, this little sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the easiest way to introduce zombies. Like you just want to introduce zombies for the 3 of you. Zombies aren't my thing. I know that'll.
Have you seen Shaun of the Dead?
Yes.
Oh man.
Man.
You're like Peter Parker with all the pop culture references, man. So it was referenced earlier, and Rob, will start with you again of the training video. And my favorite part was Happy Hogan wearing a shirt that says, "I'm not single. I'm saving myself for Thor."
I love this sequence. I love everything about it. I like watching Peter Parker and Happy Hogan interact in general because it's always funny. They're always true to the characters. It was, I don't even know what else to say. It was hysterical. That's exactly what Peter Parker would have done, is make some type of cutesy video. That's what they do in all the Spider-Man movies. It's wonderful. My favorite part of the scene is when they were introducing the characters and they had like all their little skill sets when they introduced Sharon, her last one was eulogies, and I thought
That was
really
great.
fun.
That was fantastic.
That had me
I thought that
rolling.
too. Yep. That was amazing. It was an odd team up of the people.
But that's what's great. Again, if you're into the video games, like I always say, I always talk about that Lego Marvel superheroes too, because that's what I think they're going to base a lot of the Kang things on. They put all the different superheroes in all these different team ups because that's what they can do in the comics. This cartoon is allowing them to do that in so many ways because it's easier to do voice actors than whole productions because it's animated. So it's beautiful that you get to see all these different characters interact in different ways.
And when you talk about voice actors, we did not get Tom Holland as Peter Parker. And we got pretty much everybody else. Jon Favreau was Happy Hogan. We got pretty much everyone else.
That's a surprise to me.
The biggest surprise to me was, is it David Desmalchian back from fresh off of his run as Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad, but he was back as the ex-con guy.
Kurt.
Kurt. And he had quite the role in the show. I was actually kind of surprised. Mark, you're a little bit confused by this.
Okay, so in the Ant-Man movies, and I know I did my thing where I did a pause. You guys call me on it. Anyways, in the movies, he dresses like someone I think trying to be cool and look good. And in the animated series, I didn't know who that was at first. I was like, who the heck is this? Because they animated him like so like spot on, good looking, Tony Stark looking good guy. And I'm like, oh, that's him. So it took me a second to realize who that was because of their art direction for him.
It should have been Luis.
Yes. Oh my God, Bryan, Kevin, you missed a chance here.
I think Luis maybe would have distracted. Let's see if they.
I think
somewhere
so.
else.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a bad distraction when Luis.
I will never be upset with David Desmalchian coming into Marvel or DC. Never.
Yeah.
You guys, they steered into the comedy aspect of the whole thing. It was like that episode of Boy Meets World when they're trapped in the school and they're talking about all the horror film like tropes and everything. If we had gotten a recap of how we got from point A to zombie apocalypse as told by Luis, it wouldn't have been. There would have been nothing.
I liked his animated movie though. I liked Peter's animated movie.
I did.
And then was that a Joss Whedon like zombie thing from like Buffy when it's like arg? Anyone else think that?
Yep. I got a little bit of a vibe from that.
Arg.
Forget about that.
Yeah.
Blam.
But
Blam.
Franky would get that.
I really think that Peter was more of a like a zombie teacher, got more of that feeling with that whole video. Like he actually took a page of Max Brooks's writing a little bit with all that stuff, and with him doing these movie references throughout the episode, it was a really good touch.
There were some females out in the audience. I know some of which watching tonight that enjoyed Bucky in the shower. So that was good. For them.
He really had the Jesus look or the Piano Rob from 2 months ago look.
Yeah. The Piano Rob who only washes his hair once every 3 months under the full moon.
It's like actually works out okay. So we move on and we find out Okoye's there and Bucky talks about, hey, it's bad time to visit the States. But Okoye is part of this team and they all go in to Grand Central Station and Peter says they shouldn't split up and Okoye pretty much commands charge. Juice, what did you make?
It was fantastic. She gave a great line, and Kurt just came in with a great response to that line, like solid burn on all of us, 100%. Because we don't need horror movies; we have American sitcoms or American reality TV shows. Yeah. And the inclusion of Okoye here was just great. I love it. She is always a screen stealer for me. And also, quick side note on like the base being in a big web above the city or like in the city. Loved it, and very, very smart in using Peter's powers as far as being Spider-Man or the webs of Spider-Man, to where them entering Grand Central Station. It's Peter speaking from myself or from us who are zombie fans who are like, haven't you seen stuff like this before? You never split up. And lo and behold, he turned out to be a little right. Kind of love it.
It's why I make the Boy Meets World comparison to that horror Boy Meets World episode where they're in the school.
Yes.
With all. But you talk about Peter Parker and his ingenuity around this whole thing. I want to
Yeah.
know just the negotiations or whatever it took to be able to put Spider-Man in this show. I guess because it's not going to the big screen. I don't know what Disney's rules are there, but the fact that they could use Peter Parker, go ahead, Rob.
I believe they're allowed to use Peter Parker in anything animated. It only has to do with movie
Yeah.
releases. I'm pretty sure that's because they made all the other animated Spider-Man cartoons during this time also.
It's probably
Well,
just
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah,
What
the
I read was the writers said, "Hey, we want to use Spider-Man like this," and the heads of Marvel said, "Do it, and we'll work out the how later." Is what
Right.
I was told about this version of Spider-Man, because it is a Sony depiction of a Sony Spider-Man. So
that's where I kind of like, it's a depiction of the Sony Pictures Spider-Man universe character. So I don't know. Like, it is what it is. I'm
yeah, but at the same time, Disney kind of did it first, didn't they?
yes and no. Like, Kevin says
Kevin's got a
Holland is
theory.
tied to the live action deal. I believe Spider-Man can be used in anything under 45 minutes.
There you go.
Ooh,
That's
good call.
interesting.
Good call.
I'll give you a prediction on. I think that you will see Disney own Sony in the next decade.
I don't think they will own
Sony?
Sony, but I think they will own the rights to Spider-Man.
yes, I think they'll pay the billions for Spider-Man, but Sony, good lord.
I think they'll pay the billions.
I
and
think they'll
billions for the
pay.
whole company. To
I
get
think
it
they
the
will.
same way they did with Fox. But we'll see. I just want to throw it out there. We'll see if it comes through in
I
episode
hope it doesn't
3000 of
happen.
Weirdos.
I hope it doesn't happen. I hope they buy Spider-Man, but I hope they don't buy Sony.
That means Disney could start a revival.
I mean, all that means is that Disney will do what Sony did better. Like, I want a Disney-related Men in Black.
Kevin
Ooh,
says
that fourth
40 minutes
one.
constitutes long form, which is Sony's rights. So give me a Disney Plus series that every episode is 44 minutes or less. Call it good.
Interesting.
So, but the entire Grand Central Station leads to, again, Peter being very quick on his feet, very, very smart.
And
Peter,
we lost a lot of heroes.
we lost a lot of heroes, including Happy and Sharon. Well, we didn't lose Sharon yet, but we lost a lot of heroes. Denai Guerrera as Okoye, really good voice acting. She did such a good job in this episode.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't say the same for Sebastian Stan. I struggled with him as a voice actor. Go ahead, Mark.
Are we going to skip over Happy and his pow, 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 pow?
I was about to
pow,
call it out. If you were
Blam.
going to do it, I was going to call it.
Blam, blam.
Blam, blam, blam. I mean, we all do it on Smuggler's Run and Buzz Lightyear.
Ha.
So,
Again,
Black.
the fact that Hope Van Dyne and Peter Parker are kind of the ones that call the shots here are very interesting. Okoye does call the shots too, but they very much work as a team. But Peter is entrusted to be a big deal. The zombies eventually get onto the train, and Mark, we're going to go to the Captain America loving man. It truly is the end of the line.
Hey.
I
I'm gonna-
didn't.
I'm gonna hit Bucky with it.
I think we read it in a different way because we got to remember that this, Infinity War and all that didn't happen, and I was okay with the line. I thought it was a fun little shout out. I didn't have a problem with it.
What did you make of just Cap coming in? I mean, Sharon meeting her end.
I thought that was dark when it's the
Very
one angle where you see Sharon. She twitches. Did anybody see her hand twitch? That was dark. I got chills though seeing the. I'm gonna call him the White Wolf. The White Wolf, when he puts the shield on his back, I got chills when I saw that.
Oh,
the
yeah.
shit looked cool being covered in
Yes.
moss. Rob, what did you make of the very capable zombies on the train?
I loved first of all that too. I like that Bucky got the shield in basically in this universe, because that has happened in the comics in different forms. So I really like that. I like that the cloak saved Peter Parker and kind of became his cloak for a little bit, because I feel like not to the same level as Mjolnir, but that cloak kind of picks people that it feels are worthy in a certain way. So I really like that. Speaking of dark, Okoye cutting Falcon in half was dark. That was probably the craziest thing as far as just gruesome goes. And then the other thing I liked was Wasp going inside zombie Sharon and then becoming big again, and she's got Sharon all over her like that. And Bucky had the Ozzy Osbourne Sharon. It was great. I love the whole thing.
Juice, what did you make of just Grand Central Station and the train?
Honestly, just reiterating what y'all just said. To be completely honest, I got a huge lack of emotions from Bucky throughout like the experience of seeing what's happening to Cap and what happened to Falcon, and Okoye saying, I know he was your best friend, I'm sorry. And he's like, I know I should feel sad, but I'm not. It's that whole take of the zombie story of knowing what you're in, knowing what is happening, and knowing that you can either cry about it now and possibly die, or cry about it later and really show off your emotion about it all. To where I feel like that was kind of handled pretty nicely. It could have been handled a lot better. But then going on to the train, I got huge Train to Busan vibes from it, even though it was like a quick one shot. I saw one scene of Train to Busan in this episode that just reminded me of it, and just fantastic. And then seeing Cap get cut in half like that from Bucky definitely got me in the feels. Him using that line, I feel like it was Disney. I'll even quote what a buddy of mine said earlier in the day, where they kind of like just threw that line at us without giving us too much of an emotional connection to it, because they know how much that line means to us. And him actually saying, I guess this is the end of the line. Maybe they could be teasing that it could possibly not be the end of the line, because we do know that there are now multiple Caps out there, or multiple Steve Rogers, to where he could be surprised in the near future if we see this exact Bucky again. But altogether, loved it. Loved this whole train sequence. Could not ask for anything more.
Does anybody think Bucky is just a little too flippant about everything?
I mean, think about it. He's been through a lot as of this point.
It's this line, and it's the line of when Sam gets cut in half, and he says, "I should be more sad than I am." Like, Bucky seems very emotionally closed off, more than I know Bucky to be. Rob, what do you think about that? Or go ahead.
No, Rob, go ahead.
No, I mean, you're making a good point, but I also try to think like this is a new universe. So I'm assuming everything lines up until that point. So maybe, but also maybe not. He also may accept the world as it is quicker. I mean, who knows how long exactly this zombie thing is going on? It's going for doom. The guy's lived 100 years. You know, it's crazy to see what's going on. So I agree with you a little, but I'm willing to forgive it because it's animated, and I feel like that they're trying to keep it a little light, especially in such a dark episode.
One thing that made me geek out was we got the first Uncle Ben is in his first official MCU mention by name. Now we do get his suit in Spider-Man Homecoming when he goes to the homecoming dance. We also get his initials on Peter's suitcase in Spider-Man Far From Home. But we get an official, my Uncle Ben told me this, and when Peter's listing off all of his mentors, Mark, it looks like you caught this as well.
Yes, I'm really worried that Uncle Ben is going to be really downplayed in the MCU, to have Aunt May be the more Uncle Ben type figure in his life. I hope that's not a thing. I'm hoping that if there are multiple Peters in No Way Home, I'm hoping Uncle Ben becomes a bigger topic. So I'm glad we finally got something. Yeah.
Well, we get all the way to Camp Lehigh in New Jersey, as much as Happy didn't want to go to New Jersey.
Bryan, you're not going to say the one line? They had the one line Peter said.
Go ahead.
If you can't keep smiling when they're gone, you might as well be gone too. Come on, that cut me deep.
That cut me so deep, dude.
Yep.
I didn't have it written down. No, I appreciate it. They get to Camp Lehigh, and Happy talks about how it's the end of the world, and he's happy to go to New Jersey of all places. Just taking digs at New Jersey. I'm not even from up there. I love taking digs at New Jersey. It makes me laugh every time. Hope carries them. Hope being kind of the, for pun intended, hope of the group, really surprised me. Getting Evangeline Lilly back to voice her, like all that kind of stuff, it worked. But again, Hope's kind of a central focus of the show, and it really kind of caught me off guard. So she grows giant, didn't have the foresight to shrink back down before she got taken over as a zombie. But they get to Camp Lehigh and they find out that Vision is the one that's there, and Vision is not on the menu. Was anybody surprised to see Vision? Juice, were you surprised to see Vision?
A little bit at first, but then I realized this kind of makes sense. Like, with them doing the whole scientific reasoning about how the zombie apocalypse is a thing, and just them using the quantum theory thing for just explaining everything. I mean, that kind of bit does get old after a little while, but realizing that it's all part of like the human brain, it really makes sense. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how they used that take, and it also ties into what Rob was going on about a little earlier on how these are not the typical zombies. These are unlike any zombie that we have seen before. The only other time that we've seen these kind of zombies, and honestly, it's not even a big similarity. It's in Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, where these zombies care. These zombies know. These zombies
Sorry, I want to hear
know.
Brian's thought on this movie and that.
I've never seen it. I'm not rushing to see anything.
Not to go on that rail, but it's the take of that, of turning a zombie into, I mean, you could say less than a zombie at this point, because they have more of the human emotional aspect to them, and we even see them knowing that they have these powers, knowing that they actually know these people, and just them really leveling out that explanation. It doesn't get a lot of people, but it really got me. I liked it.
Rob, Vision is using the Mind Stone. It's keeping the zombies at bay. He's using the Mind Stone, and they want to broadcast, basically, for lack of a better term, the power of the Mind Stone to be able to heal other people. We know it can heal people because Scott Lang's head lives in a jar, and he uses dad jokes to cope with life.
I mean, I would love to know the science behind that, how he lived as just a head.
Yes.
That was my first thought, that we saved somehow just his head. It was also interesting he didn't know why he was there. Vision seems very, for lack of better words, level-headed and does his programming all the time, except when it comes to Wanda. We saw it in Civil War. We saw it in WandaVision, and it's just fun. Even the fact that he pulled the Mind Stone out of his head, like, now the zombies are going to come in and attack everybody else. It's like you could have made sure they were in the spaceship and flew up there and then gave him the Mind Stone or something. And then to see Wanda upset that Vision was dead, to see, again, like you said, the zombie with feelings, it's just very interesting. I mean, they're taking liberties, but they can do whatever they want. It tells the tale. But those are the things that stood out to me.
Rob, what did you make of dad joke Scott Lang?
I love dad joke Scott Lang. But by the way, it was pointed out to me by Allie today that Paul Rudd in general says big time a lot. The way Owen Wilson says wow a lot. If you watch his movies, Paul Rudd's always saying big time, and he said it in this. But I think the one-liners saved it. You needed comedy in this episode because they were doomed. Once you saw Hank Pym biting Captain America as an ant, that's it. You knew that an Ant-Man zombie is going to beat everybody. You can't see him coming. That's it. They were doomed from the first 8 minutes of the show. I
apologize. Rob just finished talking, and then I asked Rob another question. Mark, what did you make of Scott Lang and just everything going on with Vision?
Vision didn't surprise me. Scott Lang, I think the whole him being a head thing took it had us headed in a good direction, and I don't think it was. It didn't make me upset or a head case in any way, and I know we could be a little headstrong about Wanda being in it, and it's just,
not a good time to lose one's head.
Yeah,
never. He's feeling pretty lightheaded,
and I mean, if he ever was getting grumpy, and he wouldn't have to worry about bedhead if he had to take a nap. So
Juice. What did you make of the fact that Vision couldn't kill Wanda?
It it got me, and I've been saying this throughout the whole throughout this whole episode, but it got me in the feels. This Disney's getting me in the feels with this episode because it's expressing that one take that I've been having, which is she feels, Vision knows that like a part of her is there because obviously she can recognize him and he can recognize her, but it won't take away from the fact of her wanting flesh, her wanting to eat, to like savor the hunger. So he can't take himself to end her, just like how she needed to be with him in WandaVision. So we're seeing two different sides of the people, but in a different universe, experience practically the same thing. And to have it be that similar just tells me the love between them is very real, regardless of who they both are. And I just it took my breath away as far as like the feelings. I loved it. Yeah, very much.
He's willing to go to the lengths that he did in the comic books as well, and literally beating T'Challa to Scarlet Witch. That was dark.
That was really dark.
I'm just glad we didn't get Peter eating Aunt May in this series.
Oh yeah.
Well,
is this the same storyline where Peter became basically a giant spider, or is that a different storyline?
This is definitely a different storyline. He doesn't have that experience, and I want that experience to happen.
I don't think it will. I think I read something that they wanted it to, but even that was a little too dark.
Yeah, the writers actually they wrote an episode where Peter does become an actual spider, and just the fact that that's out there, we're that much closer.
Well, we find out why Kurt was the one included in the episode, and it was all for the payoff of the Baba Yaga joke.
The Baba Yaga.
yeah.
Rob, what did you make of Scarlet Witch and just how terrifying she was?
She was, I mean, she's already super powerful and scary, just as Scarlet Witch. So to have this zombie version where she kind of has her wits about her and also doesn't care because she just wants to eat people, I mean, I agree with Jax. That's terrifying, man. That's
completely
terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, Vision finally wises up. He blasts their way out of Camp Lehigh. And Mark, we're going to go to you. It is Leviosa, not Leviosa.
That is a correct pronunciation.
Very.
I look forward to the Marvel Hogwarts edition.
Wingardium Leviosa being said by Scott Lang in a jar head being carried by the cloak of levitation is an actual thing that we saw on screen. And that was pretty bizarre.
The question is, what house is Scott Lang in?
Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
No.
Yes.
he's a Hufflepuff. He's with me.
Yeah,
Hufflepuff all day.
maybe. No, he's not a Ravenclaw. Hufflepuff.
He's definitely a Hufflepuff.
I agree.
Tony Stark's a Slytherin.
I'm a
What
Slytherin.
are you, Rob? I was going to
He's
say,
huffing the Huffle.
I'm a Slytherin. I know it. Spoiler
He's
alert.
from New York. He's a Slytherin. Yeah.
I mean,
every
hey,
Huffle.
no one's perfect. I'm huffing the Puffle over here.
All right. Well, we're going to finish up
Back
by
on track.
T'Challa, one-legged T'Challa, Peter Parker, and bodiless Scott Lang
This sounds like a joke. Walks into a bar.
walk into a bar, and they come across a zombie version of Thanos who has 5 of the 6 Infinity Stones, while our heroes are holding the 6th. I got vibes from this episode more than any other episode that we are getting a to be continued situation. Rob, we're going to start with you and everybody who kind of give your overall thoughts on the episode and zombie Thanos and what you're excited for.
I think at the end of this episode, it's a little overkill at this point, in the sense that they were doomed. Like, we needed to throw a zombie Thanos with 5 Infinity Stones already on top of everything else that already happened. Because is a zombie Thanos just gonna continue what regular Thanos was gonna do, or does he have some extra zombie stuff? And the fact that anybody can become a zombie, any being, it's not just about human DNA. Any other being can become a zombie.
Except
and again,
Hulk eventually.
we don't know what they're doing with this. If this is a one-off and we're never going to hear from it again, then that's what it is. If they do move this forward, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be bad. I mean, I think I took that shot just as that's the official. It's done. This universe is just as sad as last week's Doctor Strange. It's done. It's over.
It's where I thought Uatu was actually going to get involved. Uatu took steps to closer being involved last week. I thought he was going to get.
Do you think that's where this is going, Bryan? That he's going to get involved at some point before the end of the series?
Yes. I will be shocked if he doesn't.
I'm going to throw just one extra thing, and I don't want to deter because I want everybody else to have their opinion on that. But they keep bringing up like the quantum realm, and if we do get into Fantastic Four, they're going to talk about a microverse. I'm sure all of these things are going to start overlapping, which I also think may be a reason they're using the Pims and the Van Dyne so much now, because I think they want that to be normal by the time it comes out.
I don't think we're going to get a mention of the microverse or the Richards family in this show.
Not,
first.
but
I'm not saying in the show. I'm just saying for the future of the MCU. That's why they're giving you nuggets of this stuff now. So even like our kids, like Jax, maybe if we don't 10 years from now when they're doing whatever with the Fantastic Four, he already knows about the zombie episode from now. So it just brings us along for life.
Juice, what did you make of the zombie Thanos, and do you think Uatu is going to get involved before we see the end of the 9th episode and the end of the first season?
I dug it. The fact that it started with this episode started with the end of Infinity War and made me feel like something with Thanos is going to be coming here. And the fact that they literally ended with that shot of him holding all 5, it tells me that we're probably going to see more. Like, this has to be a continuous episode, an episode that is to be continued later on. If it's not in the same season, probably off later on. But it actually plays off to what one of the listeners here in the chat said. Really confused how Thanos as a zombie would get the stones. I mean, we've been saying throughout the review, and we see in the episode that these zombies are not the typical zombies. These zombies know what they're doing, and they now have they want others to. The whole virus is about spreading, wanting to spread, to where Thanos, being this mad titan, he had this first thought of killing off half the universe through literal universal genocide, to where it's now upgraded to zombie-esque, to where he's going to try so hard to get these 5 stones and now turn everything to the undead, or in some way like the undead. We don't know what Thanos's end game, I guess, pun intended, is now, because it's completely sidetracked. I mean, it's got to be at this point. He can't be thinking, if he's thinking about half of universal genocide being a zombie, it kind of seems redundant a little bit.
Can I ask a weird question, actually?
For one, it's efficient, for one. But two, honestly, you're overthinking it, because if we go by the simple events of Infinity War where we started this episode, Thanos shows up in Wakanda with the 5 stones. So Thanos has the 5 stones, he shows up in Wakanda, and then gets turned into a zombie. I think it's simply that simple.
You think it's that? I think he was a zombie like a little bit earlier. Well,
can I blow your mind a second with a question? The reason we're splitting half the universe is because there's not enough resources. Zombies eat people. Why is it even necessary to do this anymore?
You know what? That's a really
mic
good.
Drop.
That's a great take. Mic drop. Total mic drop. Good stuff. Okay,
Mark, do you think you want to interfere before the end of the season?
I think the Watcher will interfere. I'm glad we brought it up. I know Franky, who's watching, he didn't know for sure if Thanos was outside of Wakanda. So I'm glad we addressed that. Yeah, Thanos was there outside of Wakanda. I think Rob brings up a good point. If this is where it ends, that's a pretty good ending. I took it as a cliffhanger that we will revisit this, but I think I'm good either way. But oh man, that's just such a good juicy story to continue.
Hey.
So, yeah.
Well, gentlemen,
Juicy.
It's a different kind of show than we've ever gotten before, but I need to keep Earth's Mightiest Weirdos as normal as it is, which means our new tradition is ending with a Family Feud question. Congratulations to WandaVision and their Emmy for Best Original Song for Agatha All Along. Gentlemen,
Congrats.
it is Halloween Horror Nights time. Name the Marvel superhero, and we'll start with Juice. Name the Marvel superhero most likely to give out the best Halloween candy.
Oh, I mean, best
Answer.
Halloween candy. That's got to be Kurt. I feel like he's got a lot of the weird like candies out there. Like
Marvel superhero, Juice.
oh,
I'm gonna
superhero.
strike on this one because that was a terrible guess.
Terrible guess. I'll say to save that. You know what? Let's go with Scott Lang. He's got some good candies. His daughter's got to keep him up. He's gotta.
Sorry, it is not there. Rob.
Scott Lang's only going to give out orange slices. I'm going to go with. I'm going by money alone. I'm going with Iron Man. I think he's giving out the
Does
best
anyone
Iron
have
Man.
any orange slices?
Tony Stark is my vote.
That is correct. Mark, that is number 1 out of 6.
Of course it is. I'm gonna go Peter Parker.
Number 2, Juice, back to you.
Okay, so we did Iron Man and Peter Parker. Let's say I'll go with good old Doctor Strange. I feel like he's got some good candy.
He's a
Wow.
doctor. He wants people to be healthy.
Come on, man.
Rob,
I'm going to say Thor because he'll give you another.
number 6. Mark,
Wanda.
number
Vision
3,
Wanda,
Steve
wasn't it?
Rogers. Number 4, Black Widow. Number 5,
I was gonna say Black Widow.
Bruce Banner.
Bruce
Yeah,
Banner.
she's got the
It's the
warheads,
six-
bro.
It was the 6 main Avengers. That's what was there. I
Oh,
think
God.
I think
Hawkeye wasn't there.
Drax would have gave you a Zarg nut.
Yeah.
Rob, what is going on in Piano World?
Oh my goodness, Piano World. I think I'm at Boathouse all this weekend, although my schedule has been so hectic lately. It is, I'm at Boathouse Friday, and I think Saturday for brunch
Ooh.
and Sunday for brunch. That is this weekend. Check out my Facebook events page, or just DM me if you want me to send you the schedule. But there's a lot of gigs, which I'm very, very thankful for. So thank you all for supporting.
Juice, just juicing around. What is up next?
Well, honestly, if you listen to the show, you already know that there is no schedule for just juicing around. We're just juicing around, and it doesn't matter when we juice around with it. But I will say that I've got a couple plans in the works inside the next couple weeks. One's a retrospective take on a old TV series called Charmed. That's going to be with my sister joining me, and then after that will be Indiana Jones 4K set coming that was released a few months back with a good friend who actually did some work on that release, and that's all I'll say about that. But that's what's looking, but no schedule.
If you need to scratch your Indiana Jones itch, there is a 2-part United We fan to catch. There is also a new United We fan this coming Wednesday, Mark.
There is. Brian, do we want to give away the topic, or should we leave it a surprise?
I mean, we want people to listen. I say we
That's
give
true.
them the topic at least.
That's a good point. Brian and I are going to be picking what was the phrase you came up with, Brian?
Our own cinematic wardrobe.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
Brian and I are going to start from head to toe. So we're starting off what each we think is one of our favorite pieces of clothing. For example, we'll start with hats and go all the way down to shoes. And we'll even pick some accessories. So stay tuned to find out some of our fun shout outs for that. And also you get a opinion from Brian on peanut butter as well.
There we go.
Peanut butter and NFL football. You can't really do too much better. Gentlemen, Juice, thank you so much for joining us. Mark,
Thank you.
stay tuned. Mark Valentine is doing Dudes Do Disney this week. He's out next Monday. I think I am also out next Monday. So we're going to figure out Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. Stay close to the announcements for Earth's Mightiest Weirdos and for this Diz Live. Gentlemen, for all time.
Always.